Don't mind me, I'm just hanging out with my new hydrangeas. They just got off the truck and I'm so excited to get them into my garden. Hi, and welcome to the first episode ever of Grow and Gather, where I'll share what's going on in my garden and then answer some questions about yours. Today we're going to dive into a project I've never seen anyone do before, growing blueberries and hydrangeas as a hedge together. These two plants not only look stunning together, they have similar growing needs. But before we get started, I want to say thank you to Monrovia, our sponsor for this video. A few weeks ago, Jeff came by and dropped off these gorgeous hydrangeas, and I can't wait to show you more, so let's get to it. But when I'm designing my client's garden, and I'm thinking about adding hydrangeas or blueberries, I think of Monrovia. Earlier this year, I partnered with Monrovia for the Pasadena Showcase House, and I couldn't have done it without them. I'll have all that in a separate video. Let's talk about why I chose to plant hydrangeas and blueberries together. Both plants require slightly acidic soil to thrive, somewhere between 4.5 to 5.5 in the pH scale. This makes them the perfect companion in the same soil. Whether you plant them in the ground or in a raised bed or even in a pot together, matching up soil need is really important when you're combining plants. That tip goes beyond hydrangeas and blueberries. But back to this project. Blueberries and hydrangeas also prefer the same sun exposure. So right behind me, I have one bed with the blueberries and hydrangeas. My dahlias are giving them a little shade. In this particular spot, they're getting morning sun and afternoon shade. They're protected from the harsh afternoon sun, especially during the summer. Now, when it comes to watering, blueberries and hydrangeas really appreciate consistent moisture. So you can water them together and not have to worry about overwatering or underwatering by meeting both plants' needs. Another great tip for your project when you're mixing blueberries and hydrangeas is to plant multiple varieties. And here's why. By planting multiple varieties, you are extending your harvest and bloom times. If you only like one look of hydrangea and you're very specific on how you want to add it to your landscaping, then I would recommend the Seaside Serenade series from Monrovia. They've been bred with the best genetics where they will bloom all season long. When it comes to blueberries, each variety blooms at a different time, which means it fruits at another time. So if you pick one variety and it has, let's say, a 2-week fruiting window, then out of the entire 52 weeks of the year, you get 2 weeks of fruit. Now let's say you plant 4 different kinds and every single plant has a different fruiting window. So you can generalize and say, if I have 4 different varieties with 4 different fruiting windows, and they're all about 2 to 4 weeks each, then you went from having one variety with only 2 weeks all the way to maybe 8 weeks or longer of fruiting time. As for hydrangeas, when you plant different varieties, you can have different looks, different colors. This particular hydrangea is Seaside Serenade Newport, and it starts with this bluish purplish color. Depending on your pH, it changes, and it fades into a vintagey blue like this. So one of the best things about mixing blueberries and hydrangeas together is continued visual interest throughout the entire year. In the spring, you'll have gorgeous foliage from both plants, and early hydrangeas will start blooming, and the blueberries will also bloom in anticipation for summer fruit. And as the blueberries set fruit, your hydrangeas will continue to bloom all summer long. And in the fall, the blueberry foliage will start to turn red, and the hydrangea blooms will start to dry or change color on the plants to give you a vintage look welcoming fall. Even in winter, the bare branches provide structure and visual interest. Now, if you're like me in a frost-free zone, I'm in zone 10B, where I don't get a true frost, your plants may not go bare. Now let's get into some practical tips that everyone who grows hydrangeas and blueberries need to know. Make sure the plants have adequate space to grow. Some of these plants get really big. So the Seaside Serenade, here I have Martha's Vineyard and Newport. They each grow to about 3 feet by 3 feet. Not too big, perfect for my compact space. I also have some other varieties closer to my house that can grow up to 5 feet by 5 feet. It really pays off to know the mature size of your plant so you can use proper spacing at planting time. The same goes for the blueberries. I have some blueberries that are more compact, like Bountiful Blue, which are probably around 3 by 3, 3 by 4 in terms of their spacing. And then I also have Emerald, which can get to 5 or 6 feet. When it comes to soil and starting out with hydrangeas and blueberries, make sure you are planting an acidic potting mix. And don't forget to mulch to retain moisture. These plants do not like drying out at all, but they also don't like to be wet. So make sure it's well-draining, moisture-retaining, acidic soil. Each hydrangea requires a different type of pruning, but most of these hydrangeas bred by Monrovia require very little care. Most of it is just seasonal or some deadheading. Now for the fun part, let's talk about the different varieties I have. We'll start with the light colored ones, and each variety I have a little card just like this. You can snapshot, take a picture, and save. So this is Candy Apple, and it is a paniculata type. It is compact in form, making it container friendly. It grows really fast. It starts out green, turns white, and sometimes we'll get a little blush at the end of the life cycle of the flower. Speaking of blush, Strawberry Shake is that color. It is a gorgeous light pink, compact in form, making it also container friendly. And the stems are very sturdy with gorgeous big blooms, perfect for cut flowers, and you can even dry them pretty well. If you like white hydrangeas, you need to add Double Delight's wedding gown to your collection. It is a showstopper, always stops me in my tracks, and I love that it reblooms and is perfect for containers, so it's suitable for a lot of applications. Next up, we have Seaside Bar Harbor, and I love this one because it is a compact form of Annabelle, and if you are familiar with Annabelle, sometimes she can be a little floppy, but this particular hydrangea has really sturdy stems, and it's hardy down to zone 3. It does say up to zone 8. I'm in 10B, but I love this hydrangea so much that I'm testing it out in my front yard where it gets morning sun and afternoon shade. I'll report back. If you like color, Martha's Vineyard from the Seaside Serenade collection is a must. It has that pink red mop head that reblooms with the green center. One of my favorites, and what's interesting is the pH does not affect the color of the bloom. It will stay that color. On the other hand, Seaside Serenade Newport will change color if you change the pH. If it has lower pH, it will be more blue-violet, and then a higher pH, it will be more violet-pink. But it is still more of the blue color, which is very unique in the plant world to get blue flowers. So I love Newport. I have quite a few of them in my garden, and I can't wait to see them bloom season after season. Moving along, let's talk about blueberries. Emerald is one of my favorite blueberry varieties, but it is a little bit larger, growing 5 to 6 feet tall and 5 to 6 feet wide. It is a low chill variety where it's 250 chill hours or less. And what I love about this one, it is evergreen for me in the winter. If you get only one blueberry, get Bountiful Blue. It is compact, it can grow in the ground as well as a container, and it produces the best fruit. Next up, we have Jubilee. It is semi-evergreen in the warm climates, but it's not a green foliage in the fall. It has this beautiful red-orange fall color, and it does require a little bit more in terms of chill hours. However, it still produces where I am. Now, Sunshine Blue is another great one for small space gardeners because it is a compact variety that has an abundant crop, and the blooms are this really cute blush pink, and it only needs 150 hours for the warm climate growers. This one is perfect. When you first get your hydrangeas, make sure you know how they were grown. Now, these were grown at Monrovia under 50% shade cover. There's no shade cover here. It is bright, full sun. So yes, I have unloaded the hydrangeas right here into my front yard, but I need to acclimate them, or these lovely leaves and the flowers, they will burn. So they need some time. Will they acclimate? Yes, but I need to put them under shade for, I would say, at least a couple weeks to get them used to my climate. Some of these came from Oregon, some of them came from Central California, and they're not quite used to Southern California sun. They're definitely not without shade cover. So they're not ready for full sun in Southern California yet. Now, my front yard actually gets full sun up until, I would say, about 1 or 2 o'clock. And where I'm going to place these right along the base of my house. These hydrangeas are going to be mixed in with blueberries to form a hedge along the front of my house. And there you have it. That's my hydrangea and blueberry project. These plants will change season to season, so I'll be sharing that in future videos on how hydrangeas and blueberries change throughout the season. Thank you for joining me on this gardening project. Now that you've heard all about my project, I'd love to answer some of your questions. So drop them in the comments below, and I'll answer them in the next video. If you enjoyed this video and learned something, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss future videos. Happy gardening, and I'll see you in the next one.